welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about emergency assistance programs in Ontario, and these are programs that are meant to help people who are in a crisis situation and need money for emergency things that they cannot pay out of pocket. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with emergency assistance. Now, emergency assistance is a program in Ontario that provides temporary financial support for people facing urgent crisis when they don't have enough money for basic needs like food and housing. So this is meant to pay for essential things and crisis things. And again, it's only meant for food and housing. The amount you receive is based on your situation, but generally covers essential costs like groceries, rent, and shelter-related expenses. So I mean, that could include things like maybe utilities or whatnot, but it has to do something with either the home or the food. Generally, they only give amounts that are similar to what you would get on OW because it's done through the OW office, which for those of you who don't know, OW is Ontario Works. And so therefore, a single person may receive approximately $733 for 1 month. Families may receive more depending on the number of children. And this program is generally meant to be a short-term thing. So generally they say 48 days. Most people can receive up to 48 days of support. And in special circumstances, they might receive additional periods if the crisis continues. But again, this is meant to be a short-term relief, something that came up, like let's say you have unexpected situations that would put your housing or your food security in crisis, and this is the type of program that can sort of help you with that. Now, it doesn't say on the website whether or not this program has a max. I don't know if it's like one and done situation where if you apply for it once in your life, then you're sort of can't really apply for it for another period of time or whatnot, but I would say to not apply for it on a regular basis. They will probably turn you down if you keep coming back to receive it. They might suggest that you do a more of a permanent method of going on Ontario Works if you constantly need support because this is meant to be temporary. Now, the people who qualify for this program are individuals who obviously live in Ontario, but you can't be a visitor or a tourist. In order to apply for the program, you have to prove that you are currently residing in Ontario, have housing, or have some type of accommodations and living actively in Ontario. You must be facing a crisis, such as eviction, fleeing abuse. Back in the day when the program was first created, they said, COVID-19 impact, but obviously that's not really a situation anymore. And other situations that put you or your safety at risk. You need to not have essentially any money. You qualify if you don't have enough income to assist you or to meet your basic needs like food and shelter. You need to not be on OW or ODSP, which for those of you who don't know, OW is Ontario Works and ODSP is the Ontario Disability Support Program. And that's because if you're on that program, you are receiving continuous financial support on a monthly basis, and so it's not really emergencies that you would need support for. But that program, those two programs do have a separate resources for unexpected expenses, which I will get to later in the video. And also, if you are somebody who has come to Canada under the Canada-Ukraine Authorization for emergency travel, which is a program that was made obviously after the Ukrainian war, where Ukrainian migrants arriving or remaining in Ontario under the program may qualify for temporary emergency support. And we will discuss that more in the video of what because there are a little bit of different qualifications and more so different levels of support for the Ukrainian refugees coming to Canada. But generally you have to be a Ontario resident, be in crisis, have no money, not be on ODSP or OW, and if you are a migrant, be a Canadian Canada-Ukraine Authorization for emergency travel immigrant. As I mentioned before, the Canada-Ukrainian Authorization for emergency travel does have different parameters for the emergency assistance. For instance, it can be up to 6 months. People arriving under the program may receive emergency assistance for up to 6 months if they do not have money, enough money or assets to sustain themselves when they're first coming to Canada. This program can go up to 6 months for you, whereas if you're not Ukrainian, then it's obviously 48 days. You can obviously get more money if you have children. Households with children may receive higher amounts to help cover food, housing, and essential family needs. You also receive a drug card under the program, and that helps cover the cost of medications and other supports like that. But again, this program is meant to provide fast and direct support for people who are fleeing to Canada from the Ukrainian war and their families who are fleeing Ukraine to Canada. It's meant to help you settle. It is meant to set you up for success by giving you the money to set your life and settle your home and settle all the basic situations that you need to set up your future and your family's future in Canada. Now, the steps to apply are pretty simple and straightforward. First of all, you have to have a SIN number. You can apply online with your social insurance number, email address, phone number, and the application takes generally 15 to 20 minutes. You can also go to the Ontario Works office if you do not have a SIN or email or phone number, and talk to a local representative at the Ontario Works office instead. Only one application is needed for yourself and your immediate family, and you must choose the option that best describes your situation. So, i.e., if you are a Ukrainian refugee or if you're not, you have to specify that in the application. There's a 4-day callback. A worker from your local OW office will contact you within 4 business days to go through the details of your application, to verify any information and whatnot. And then if you're approved, then you will receive your payment by direct deposit in about 2 business days, or by check in the mail within like 7 business days. Now, that information about the check in the mail was before all the back and forth with Canada Post. So I don't know if it's 7 business days anymore, and more be like maybe 14, maybe higher, especially Christmas season. I mean, like, the mail is kind of not great on the best of days, but now it's like particularly not great. So I would probably set up a direct deposit with the OW office if you're approved, because that will take 2 business days rather than the God only knows how many days with Canada Post and whatnot. And so, and again, when they say business days, they mean, Monday to Friday. They're not reading your application during the weekend. So if you do an application on Friday, it may take longer. Same thing with Thursday. It generally takes longer because it's more to the end of the week, rather than if you do it on Monday, then you may get verified and get the information and get knowledge whether you're approved or not before the end of the week. So I highly suggest closer to a Monday. It's probably better than doing it on a Thursday, and especially doing it on a Friday. And especially don't do it before a long holiday like the Christmas holidays or New Year's Eve, because a lot of these offices do shut down for the holidays, and so that will push back your application and your process even longer than the 4 business days. But generally, they say it does take 4 business days to verify your information and possibly either approve or reject your application. Now, so the biggest takeaway is that if you are an Ontario resident facing eviction or food crisis, because right now food prices are the highest it's ever been in years, then I highly suggest speaking to your local OW office to see if you qualify for emergency assistance, because this program is meant to help people stay in their homes, stay fed, and to avoid a crisis. So if you or you know somebody who's in that situation and has their permanent residency or their citizenship and they live in Ontario, then I would highly recommend reaching out to that office, because it can really save you a lot of heartache and a lot of misery by having to struggle without heating, without housing, and without food. Well, that's it for today's video. I know I threw a lot of information at you, but if you want more information about either of these programs, I will link them in the description. I also have a ebook on my website that goes through all the emergency assistance programs in different provinces all throughout Canada, because it is a provincial type program that provides these types of fundings. So if you want to check that out, I'll also link that in the description below. But if you like this video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next week. And I'm also going to link this video on the video I made about more programs in ODSP and benefits that people can apply for that many people don't really know about. Alright, see you guys next week.